Well, I'm back out for another wild camp, and it's the first one of 2019, and I've come along my local woods, which is always a favourite of mine. I'm actually in one of my favourite camping and fishing spots at a secret location. I'm going to do something different. Well, I'm saying different, it's something I haven't done for about a year. I'm going to do a hot tent wild camp, because we're maybe in the warm weather wanderer, and I'm like getting our cold, you know, so yeah, it's me thinking I had the place to myself. You know, I was on about the fishing before. I wish I'd be kayak now. Don't think they've seen us. I don't know why I'm hiding, like. This is actually the River Wansbeck, and it's a river I do me kayaking videos on, other than the one at Ullswater. The only problem is it suffers from a lot of low water in summer, but it can be dangerous if there's a lot of water in the river, so it's getting that right balance, you know. But I kayaked down from Morpeth all the way down to Sheepwash, and it was brilliant, you know, excellent memory. And seeing them two guys there kind of makes me want to fix a repair the puncture on my kayak and get out and do a bit more kayaking, you know, it makes sense. Well, that sun's strong, like, there's actually a bit of heat in it for January. It's quite mild actually, but don't I look quite handsome every now and again when a ray of sunlight hits me beautiful face? It makes my complexion look a lot more pure, doesn't it? Sparkling. I know, I'm waffling, aren't I? Right, I'm gonna get my camp set up, otherwise it'll get dark and I'll be standing here like a total idiot, you know. Well, my shelter's up now and I'm quite pleased with it. I'll give you a look. Plenty of space under there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my stove, but it's a bit knackered. See that? They were last year's tin cans and obviously they've rusted. I've got a new chimney for it, but I've had it on there and it moves, and I know for a fact there's going to be leakage. And my only worry is carbon monoxide. So what I plan on doing, not having the stove all the way in there, I'm just going to have it in the doorway with the door open quite a bit. Carbon monoxide is odourless, you can't smell it, and the last thing you want is not waking up at all. You know, you need plenty of ventilation. With hindsight, I should have brought a carbon monoxide detector, but what I might do is have like a through draft open the other side of the poncho shelter. There's something about old gear, you know, it's canvas. When I unpacked it, it had a bit of a, I wouldn't say like a damp smell, but it had that old sort of smell, you know, familiar smell. I think I've got a really good spot here, next to me favourite fishing spot as well. I've got my hammock chair that Davey gave us. Thanks again. I've only used it a couple of times, but I tell you what, it is, they're handy. Easier than knocking up a bush chair every time you come into the woods. Got my fire kit, my old school style fire kit with me flint and steel, chalk cloth. I always carry a backup. You know, you've got to, it's always handy to have more than, in fact it's sensible to have more than one method of starting a fire. Cotton wool ball soaked in Vaseline. You know, for when you get desperate and you can't get the fire going the old fashioned way. I've got my flint and steel. Bicycle inner tube, rubber. You know, I've got easy ways and slightly more difficult ways to start a fire. Even got some pine resin in there. And birch bark. So as you can see, I don't always rely on one method of lighting a fire. I'm not one of these that likes to rub sticks in the wood. I mean, that's not really my thing, that. I mean, I admire people that can use a bow drill or a hand drill to start a friction fight. I think it's really tremendous, you know, being able to do that. But I haven't got the want to do it. I've got food for a barbecue. Absolutely loads of meat chops and chicken and sausages. No fancy guys, you know. And just chocolate biscuits and noodles. And loads of coffee. Got me Crusader cook set in there. I might open that and show you. I don't know if you've seen that. I've got like other stuff in there as well. Although I'll give you a look now. It holds quite a bit. It holds me Crusader plastic cup. I've got this thing here for, you know, if you're struggling to get a fire going, it's like a bellow, you just blow into it. And I've got on this side, it's a copper piping off a, I don't know, brake pipes off a car braking system. Got a pot stand there. Got the lid for my Crusader cup. I've got another small cup in there, which is just the right size for those 200 millilitres for those 2-in-1 coffees. And Crusader cup when it decides to come out. And in here it's just washing up liquid. I think that's cooking oil. I don't know why I should need that in there. Pan scourer. Hygiene kit. That shouldn't really be in there. Toothpaste, toothbrush, hand sanitizer. Personal hygiene is very important, especially, you know, when you're in the woods, because your hands will get dirty. It's starting to get dark a little bit, so I might start thinking about lighting a fire, chop some wood, and then tap more bollocks, and then, you know, I'll catch you in a bit. Plenty of sparks there, so give it a test. But this is my favourite method of lighting a fire. Flint and steel. It's a lot more rewarding than using one of these. It's not cheating, you know, in a survival situation, as long as you get a fire going. But because it's, you know, it's just for fun, it's just, you know, practice. It's just getting out and doing it. You know, I like to try something different every time. There we go. So what I do is, this paper birch, you don't even need a bird's nest for this stuff. Just pop it in the middle somewhere. And I might even add a bit more charred material. You know, don't skimp with it, you know, get a decent amount. And you kind of fold it up as if you would with a bird's nest. Almost there. Probably the next time. You can see the black coming off, that's all the oils in it, that. And I've got a load of twigs already to put on. And that's where it's at for me. You can hear it sizzling a little bit, so there is a little bit of water in that wood, you know, it's a bit damp. I did try to collect a bit of dead standing, but I think the wood, you know, we're in January, it's been raining quite a bit recently, so now it's going to be bone dry, but as you can see, once the wood starts to dry out, it just takes off. And as the flames gets above the wood, that's when you can start adding stuff on. Don't add stuff on before the flame has a chance to rise above the wood, because you can smother it. You can smother the fire quite easily, and then you can start getting a slightly bigger bits of wood on. Well, I won't be cold tonight. I've managed to sort me stove out. I just shoved the chimney. I just pulled out the old collar that was on there. It's still got a bit of a gap and it's a little bit rickety, but it should do for the night. I might actually see about getting that welded, find some collar or something so I can, you know, get something a little bit better. That's not going to leak especially, but I'm only going to have it in the doorway here. I don't want it in there because I know it will, so I could, like I said before, I could get carbon monoxide poisoning. But one other thing as well, whenever you choose a camping spot, usually places like this, which is like low down next to the river, is usually colder than slightly more uphill. I mean, out of the woods here, it's a bit more windy, so obviously it's sheltered in the woods, but a better camping spot will be a few metres up there. But it's not going to really matter to me tonight because I am going to be warm. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm totally loving it. And I'm not even drinking. I'm just going to get high on life. And that's me bait. Loads of food. Sausages, chicken and chops. There's about 1 kilo of meat in there. So when I'm waiting for that fire to die back, I'll show you this. My new grill. I got it off there. Well, I'm not going to say where I got it off. Might not want us to tell anybody. My sausages aren't going to fall through that mesh. That's tremendous, that. And when the fire sort of dies back and I've got a bit of coals, I can still keep the fire going at this end by feeding more fuel in. But it's still a little bit too high to cook on there at the minute. A few logs for the night. I'd probably do with getting a few more later, because usually when you think you've got enough, you haven't really. And it's winter, so it's better to have too much than run out when it's, you know, you're in your bag and you're feeding wood in and you think, oh, I've got to go out there and I've got to cut more wood. Plus it's forecast to rain as well, so I'm going to get them logs in there. Lighting the stove is going to be quite easy because all I've got to do is put a few hot embers in the stove from the fire, just transfer it to the stove. Later, you know, when I retire to me chalet, me beachfront view, or me riverside view I should say. Look at them views, guys. I don't know why people don't try wild camping, because you know it makes sense. Really does, you know it makes sense. Do you know how some people like to go on holiday abroad to Spain and places like that? Well, I like to do a bit of wild camping, you know. It's a cheap holiday. And you know, you can camp just a mile or so from your home. And I tell you what it is, it's just as exciting as going abroad, as far as I'm concerned. While I'm waiting for that fire to die down, I'm going to have a brew. So I'll heat some water up. Another tip, guys, why not do a bit of recycling? You know, you don't have to bring, it doesn't have to be expensive, you know. I've said wild camping be really cheap, but why not recycle your milk cartons, bring them along the woods, you know, 2 litres of water. What I do the night before wild camp, I'll bring stuff along here, I'll see what stuff, you know, I don't like to give too much away, but I do stash things somewhere. I don't leave camps up anymore because they do get found and destroyed, you know, and things go missing. So the night before I'll come along, I'll stash things like water and a few items, cordage, that sort of thing. But I'll also bring water, but I'll put them in like just 2 litre pop bottles or milk containers, and that's doing my bit for the environment, recycling. There's some heat coming off there and it's still too hot to cook on, but that water will boil really quickly. smoke gets everywhere. You can taste the yolk, the smoke from the yolk. It's really quite nice with the sausages. Bloody hell. I'm going to need pliers to pull that off. Yes, definitely bring tongs the next time. Oh, I think them bad boys are done. Yep. I don't know how anybody can eat vegetarian food. I mean, good luck to them if that's what they want to do. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I love me meat. And I tell you what it is, I've said it once, I'll say it again. It doesn't get any much better than this. When it's cooked on an open fire, and you've just got a little bit of smoke from the oak, it just tastes a lot better, and it's healthier as well, healthier than frying. In fact, the fire's dying back quite nicely there now. It would have been better to cook on it at that level, starting with the sausages, because I couldn't even get my hands close to the heat. They were just too hot, so I should have let it. I was just too eager, you know. And now one thing, I'm stuffed now, and I've got all this chicken to eat. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it in here and let it cool. And I've got some Ziplocs, and I'll just scoff on it later. Look at that, man. Lovely and tender. See there, man, it's not pink in the middle or anything. You hear them crows. They're looking for somewhere to roost. Flew over here a couple of times. They're not settled. There's been people shooting in the woods across the river there, so that's probably it. But it might not look it, but it is fairly dark now, like. But I'll love it. So I'll just get tidied up, get a coffee on the go, and maybe a bit more chit chat, talking shite. Someone's got them spooked. I hope his snout's gonna spook me tonight. I mean, what's out here in the woods on a night aim that'll get you spooked? If you're easily spooked, that is. Got a good fire on there, getting a lot of heat off that. Give you a quick look at me setup. If you haven't already seen it before, I'm in my 3-season sleeping bag. Can't remember the make of it. Van Gogh Venom. It's the warmest one, but it's not warm anymore. It's lost a lot of feathers over the years. It's been a good bag, and it's, I would say it's more of a summer, you know, late spring, early autumn. I'm in me trusty, only been used 3 or 4 times, Privet air mattress. Hasn't let us down yet. And I'm on just a cheap tarp thing, whatever, ground sheet. There's plenty of room in here, guys. You know, that's supposed to be like a 2-man shelter, but they are at a push. But you know, it's just one man and his gear. That's all I'm good for, basically. I can get all my lugs in here and my stove, which is going to be in the doorway, throwing off a lot of heat, keeping me warm through the night, because it's January and I am the warm weather wanderer. You got a pretty mouth there, boy. You know you're gonna have to squeal like a piggy. I'll have a nightmare the night thinking of that. Well, I've had a lovely tea and a lovely supper. I've eaten all that chicken. And for the last couple of hours since I was last speaking to you, I've just been sitting in front of the fire, the bushcraft telly, enjoying the views and just listening to the sound of nature. I could hear an owl before, I've heard foxes, and I've heard dogs barking in the distance. And I've never had the want to get inside my shelter. It's not that cold. It probably is, but the heat from that fire is amazing. But what I've started doing is transferring some of the coals and the hot ashes to my stove, warming it up and trying to get it going, because I'll have to retire at some point. I think it's lit there now. I was having problems. I was transferring the embers over and they were just cooling too quickly. I think it's because it's still damp, the stove. It's, you know, it wasn't up to temperature. So I put a few coals in there and they kept going out. So I put a wax burner in there. And I think it's in a few twigs, and I think it's starting to warm up. Do you know what it is? I've probably done enough waffling for now. Look at me camp, man. Isn't it lovely? So cosy. And I'll be cleaned up and put away, so there'll be no trace tomorrow. So don't start whinging now. Get out and do a bit of wild camping. You know it makes sense. Get out and do a bit of wild. Get out and do a bit of wild camping. You know it makes sense. And I need locked up, don't I? Well, I've retired to my tent, and overall I'm quite happy with my setup. Though it's a bit messy in here. Stove's doing well. It's throwing off a lot of heat. The chimney, mind, it keeps creaking and moving slightly. You know, as the metal expands and contracts, it's basically, it's not safe. I've got a feeling it's gonna, like, it might even fall out and burn the tent. So it's in the doorway, and obviously bringing it in wasn't an option. And plus, it's all that blooming paint's coming off it as well. You know, and you can smell it. It's horrible. You know, it's toxic. As far as space goes, and quite a bit. You know, my pack's outside actually, because, you know, well, I just basically haven't got room to get that in. Me saw and me knife and axe and that's over there. Clothes is here. Basically, once you get your lugs in, where do you get your lugs from, Fred? Once you get your lugs in, you know, you haven't really got much space for anything else. It's definitely not a two-man shelter if you want to have a stove in as well, and yeah, all the other gear. It's, see, that's been burning on hot, the handles come off. See all the paint's coming off as well. It's ticking over. Funnily enough, when you shut the door, it seems to bleeze. It seems to sort of like get a bit more like fierce. Probably because it's drawn hard, it's sucking air in. There's a good draw on it. One thing I will have to say, like, and I'm gonna have to change, I'm not really happy with this air mattress in here. It does the job, but it's not suitable for hot tenting, because it just takes a stray spark and it's just gonna be damaged. So I have to maybe just use a thick foam mattress. They're not as comfortable, but you know, I'll have to man up and start using one, because I don't want to get a hole in it, basically. So overall I'm very pleased. You know, I think if it was a lot colder, that stove would obviously be better off in here. Like I said, at the minute I can't really do that. I need to get a decent, I need to get the chimney secure. What I need to do is stop being so cheap and buy some stovepipe. You know, that's basically what it is. I'm trying to do everything on a, you know, just basically I'm just trying to, like, I'm just cheap. I'm a very cheap person, so cheap and cheerful. Another quick look around. look, I'm going to get away because I am waffling. I'm not even going to switch back on if I've got out interesting to say, and I'll just catch you all tomorrow. Well, hopefully I've survived a night of carbon monoxide poisoning, and I shouldn't joke with stuff like that because it's not funny. Anyway, night, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Morning. Well, I really enjoyed last night. It was a change. It's been about a year since I've had the lavvu out, and you know, at that stove, you know, it's just the warmth and just the coziness, and you know, it was a bit smelly. It was giving off quite a few, you know, bad smells with the fumes and that. You know, the paint's peeling off it, but you know, it's better be safe than sorry, you know, because you know, carbon monoxide is a killer, and you don't want to play games. You don't take chances with your health. But, you know, and I didn't really think it was that cold anyway to have a stove on. But when the stove went out, the temperature must have dropped and the wind got up, and there was a bit of a wind chill. And my bag's only rated, it's a 3-season bag, but it's more like a summer bag now because it's losing feathers and it's got cold spots. So I should have been in a bivvy because it was drafty. The draft was coming in underneath the sides. But overall, I was really pleased. Totally enjoyed it. You can see there how the stove's all flaky, and that's what was giving us a bad smell last night. Plus that wasn't safe. I was concerned that the chimney was gonna like fall over, touch the tent, and then basically, you know, like damage it. I should have had a spark arrestor on the top as well, because there was quite a few sparks coming out. But this morning when I woke up and I looked up, you know, basically you can't see daylight because it's so dark in here. I couldn't see any holes in it. Look at that, man, how dark it is. For those of you that are thinking about buying one of these poncho shelters, they're cheap enough. They're about £30. They're not the latest, and they're waterproof, although the waterproofing does come off eventually and you have to retreat them. But I think it's part of the experience, and it's, I don't know, it's the old school, I've probably mentioned it before, the old school experience of these things, the smell, the nostalgia, and you know, using canvas tents years ago, and I just love it. Well, I'm going to get packed up now and get away, but I'll just thank you all for watching and coming along for the adventure, and hopefully I'll see you all on the next one.